Coming up on Focal Point, still counting ballots in a tight presidential race.
It's amazing how those mail-in ballots are so one-sided.
Democracy is sometimes messy.
I'll tell you about a citizen who has to practice social distancing a little bit more when he's at the polls.
Coming up, I'll tell you about a first-time voter whose name was also on the ballot.
Focal Point starts right now.
Hello and welcome to Focal Point. I'm Taylor Gattoni.
And I'm Jacob Lothmer. Thank you for joining us. Tuesday was Election Day. 3 days later, we still don't know who will be sworn in on Inauguration Day. But the picture is getting clearer by the hour. COVID-19 has slowed everything down this year, and counting votes is no exception. Due to fears of the virus, a record number of people voted absentee in 2020. These absentee votes take time to count. Right now, President Trump has 213 electoral votes. He's hung on to Republican strongholds in many southern and midwestern states. He hasn't fared as well in coastal states or states with large cities. In the popular vote, Democrat Joe Biden is leading President Trump by nearly 4 million votes. But he's still short of the magic 270 electoral college votes. Biden has 253 electoral votes so far, but we are still waiting to join some key states. Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Georgia are still counting absentee ballots, but Biden is leading in those states. We can't call North Carolina yet for President Trump, but is expected to carry the Tar Heel state as we wait for more results. The candidates disagree on the legitimacy of the vote counting.
And this is a case where they're trying to steal an election. They're trying to rig an election.
The process is working. The count is being completed, and we'll know very soon.
With the election so close in many states, we can expect some recounts. The 2020 race for the White House isn't over quite yet. Another tight race right here in Michigan. Democratic Senator Gary Peters narrowly won re-election. Republican challenger John James is just half a percentage point behind Peters. But with the race so close, James refuses to concede and is questioning the results. Peters calls these allegations sad and pathetic. Even though Peters, the Democrat, won, Republicans are likely to hold on to the majority in the Senate.
To make sure every vote is counted, we have to wait. As sometimes challenging that is to wait, we have to wait till all of those votes are actually counted.
Here in Michigan's 8th District, Democrat Alyssa Slotkin won re-election for the second term in Congress. Former CIA analyst received almost 51% of the vote, beating out Republican Paul Junch. MSU students typically make up a large part of the 8th District, but with fewer students on campus, Slotkin had to adjust her campaign strategy.
We recalibrated our entire effort and did a huge digital program on Instagram and Snapchat, getting people registered. And then we've just been hitting the 10,000 or so students who we know are sort of still living right around campus, trying to register them.
Democrats will keep majority of the House of Representatives for at least 2 more years. Closer to home, MSU has 2 new trustees. Republican Pat O'Keefe and Democrat Rima Ella Vassar are the newest board members. Incumbents Brian Musalam and Tanya Shootmaker won re-election.
MSU's campus is home to a total of 6 polling locations for East Lansing voters. Joe Freihofer checked in on them to get the pulse at the polls.
November in Michigan means it's a time for change. Not just the colors of the leaves, but the face of a nation.
Stressful, anxious.
Election day.
I don't know, it's kind of like a bigger deal to vote this year, it feels like.
Tensions running high like they are with the election.
Our opportunity to vote, it's our voice, so we have to make sure we use it wisely.
And voting in a way we've never seen before, with mail-in voting at an all-time high. Very few students on campus, and fears of the coronavirus.
It was a little surprising to see that it was like no line at all.
No lines at all at the MSU Union.
It's been slow.
At Brody.
To see it's kind of dead here, especially in the epicenter of campus, like where it should be really busy. It is weird. It is different.
Or at IM West.
It was very shocking. I thought there would be like more people voting. I think it's a very important election for a lot of people, for a lot of minority groups. I'm Latina, so it's very important for me.
With the coronavirus taking center stage, it's been a very different election year.
I think we were all going through a really hard time this year.
Oh man, it was a very disappointing year.
But a chance to
Be there for each other. I think that's one thing we've all taken out of this pandemic and this crazy time, is just to be more caring, respectful, and kind to each other.
each other coming together.
I just hope it brings unity.
Certainly some unity at some point, in some way.
The leaves seem to reflect Yanni's philosophy, all falling in different directions right now.
It's very sad to see like this huge country like can be so powerful just break down into pieces when we can like be so much stronger together.
She hopes one day our country can look like a tree in the spring, with all the leaves holding on together. In East Lansing, Joe Freihofer, Focal Point News.
As counting continues in the 2020 election, one thing is for certain. We can all admire Yanni's vision for the future of our country.
In a precinct in East Lansing, Sam Britton shows us there aren't only voters coming and going. He introduces us to a volunteer just there to say thanks.
A warm fall day. You know, people playing football and kids on the playground, and it just almost feels normal.
Something we don't usually see in November.
That's a feeling I haven't had in a very, very long time.
A sunny election day is even more rare here.
I think people had been concerned about what the polls would be like, and they've been just like unambiguously positive.
For Michigan Congresswoman Alyssa Slotkin, the nice weather made it easier for her to visit a lot of polling places.
This is our 10th polling location that we've been to.
They asked me to go to the Union as well, but that's all students there, and I figured I have a better impact here.
Alan Schulman spent his election day outside the Hannah Community Center in East Lansing.
I'm just here to, kindly encourage people to vote for Joe Biden, Alyssa Slotkin, Gary Peters. Hopefully engage in some conversation if people want to know more information.
10 hours.
Thanks for voting, guys. Vote for Joe and Alyssa.
Of thanking people for voting.
Thank you for voting, sir.
I actually work for the clerk's office.
Oh, thank you for working for the clerk's office.
Not everyone was happy that Schulman was out here.
They've called the police on him several times.
They called the cops on me twice.
For doing nothing.
100 feet. That's how far Alan Schulman has to be from the Hannah Community Center. If he wants to go inside, he has to either hide or cover his Alyssa Slotkin pins to prevent voter intimidation.
Thanks for voting, guys. Have a good day.
We have 175 supporters who are out at key precincts across the district.
Late in the afternoon, Schulman has proven his dedication.
We're doing great. I haven't sat down actually since 10 o'clock.
As the sun sets, he still hasn't run out of thank yous.
Thank you for voting. Please vote for Joe and Kamala.
Schulman doesn't care which way people vote. He's just glad to see so many here.
It's been a great day. Super happy with the turnout.
He says the long day was worth it.
Been a lot of people, a lot of great interactions.
In East Lansing,
thank you for voting.
I'm Sam Britton.
Please vote for Joe and Kamala.
Focal Point News.
And Alyssa Slotkin. Thank you so much for your support.
That's taking volunteering to a whole other level. It seems to have been a rewarding experience for him.
This election was the first time many people could vote. For others, it was the first time their name was on a ballot. But for one local candidate, he was a first for both. Michaela Temple has the story.
Hello, are you here to vote? Thomas Gorman lost.
I guess I'm a little bummed that I lost.
He lost in the election. He's used to competing in races, just not like this one.
I did cross country in high school.
He was running here for Okemos School Board, but just last year he was running on this track as a student.
He graduated from Okemos High School only 6 months ago.
Been fairly interested in government for the past couple of years.
Thomas knew there were some changes he wanted to see.
I'd definitely like to see the district integrating technology a lot more into its in-person teaching.
So with a little inspiration.
One teacher in particular in high school that really got me inspired not only to be more active in our democracy.
He decided to do something about it.
Just look for ways in general to better the community.
Not only was this the first time his name was on a ballot.
It was a really empowering feeling.
But this was also the first election he was old enough to vote in.
Not only being able for the first time to participate in our democracy, but then also potentially be a part of making policies for it.
When I talked to him on election day, he had high hopes.
I'm feeling pretty optimistic.
And today, looking through the lens of a loss, he sees the bright side.
I think we were just shy of 4,000 votes, so there's some positives.
For now, his plan is to go back to being an average college freshman.
I'm going to Michigan State University for computer science.
And do normal 18-year-old things.
I'm kind of a gamer. I like to play some video games.
But that doesn't mean his days of running,
it's not out of the question.
whether it's on a track or for office, are over.
For right now, I think I'll just focus on getting my undergraduate degree.
In Okemos, Michaela Temple, Focal Point News.
Thomas ran on a ballot of 6 candidates. 4 of them are now on the Okemos School Board. One of the most important issues this election cycle is the COVID-19 pandemic. Here in Michigan, cases are surging and breaking records. Connor Smithy is live in Lansing at the state capitol. He has an update on COVID in Michigan and Governor Whitmer's plan to slow the spread. Connor, what's the governor saying?
Taylor, Governor Whitmer held a press conference yesterday where she congratulated people on the winners of the state and local level elections. But the main focus was on COVID-19. Cases are rising here in Michigan. The state reported 5,700 new cases yesterday. Republican legislatures remain critical of the governor's COVID response. But Whitmer says that unity is needed now to help tackle the rising cases in the state.
Governor, I remain ready to work with our state legislature on areas where we can find common ground so we can keep our state safe, keep our people safe, keep our economy engaged. I remain.
Wear masks statewide in Taylor, the governor is trying to get legislation that will require masks statewide in indoor as well as outdoor busy areas. But there's no word from the Republicans yet on whether they're going to be passing that legislation. It is important to note, though, that while there may not be state-level legislation, many municipalities are passing their own legislations for masks. Here in Ingham County, masks are required. Back to you.
Thank you, Connor. Coming up, we take a look at the forecast for the coming week. I know I'm hoping for more of these 70-degree November days.
Me too, Taylor. Also, we go to IM West, which just reopened this week. All that and more coming up after a quick break.
Michigan State said we will be the stake in the ground for public health in Flint.
All right, Sade, ready?
We want to create a viable
job,
public
Taylor.
health model
Well
for
done,
other
sir.
cities like Flint, where most importantly, the community has ownership of the outcome. We have multiple programs. We have the Flint Center for Health Equity Solutions. We have the Flint Lead Exposure Registry and the Strengthening Flint Families Initiative. Our work happens out there in the community with our partners.
Plastics are everywhere in our daily life. Though they solve a lot of problems, an over-reliance on them has serious consequences. Potentially because we've become so addicted to plastic, we have a problem with sustainability and pollution related to plastics. In our lab here at MSU, our vision is to produce environmentally friendly plastics using sustainable resources and a much smaller footprint.
Welcome back to Focal Point. We've reached the end of a very warm and sunny week. Sade Moore is live in the studio with a look at this week's weather.
Taylor, we can expect to continue seeing these warmer temperatures as we move into next week. Across the country, it's looking pretty good. In the west, we're seeing some high 40s in Seattle and Portland, low 50s and 60s in Boise and Billings. As we look southwest, the weather's heating up into mid 70s in Los Angeles and high 80s in Phoenix. Similar to the southwest, in the south, we're looking at weather in the 70s and 80s, like in Dallas and Miami. Now switching over to the Great Lakes, we're seeing low 60s in Grand Rapids, Cincinnati, and Green Bay, and mid 60s in Minneapolis and Des Moines. Looking at our current temperatures in East Lansing and surrounding areas, we're getting low 60s across the board. Now lastly, switching over to our 7-day forecast, get excited because this weekend it's going to be a warm one, with low 70s with a slight chance of rain on Tuesday until the weather drops back to normal fall weather of 40s and 50s on Wednesday and Thursdays. And there you have it for this week's weather. This might be the last time we see temps this warm. Taylor, I know I'll be outside enjoying the sun. How about you?
I'll definitely be enjoying the weather, Sade, maybe even relaxing in my hammock. This might be the last weekend to eat outside, and for those of you planning to go to bars and restaurants, there are some new health guidelines to follow. To track the spread of COVID-19, restaurants asked to record the names and phone numbers of customers. This tracking program is recommended but not required by the health department.
With online classes and social distancing, MSU students might have trouble finding and getting a good workout. Jordan Phillips is at IM West on Michigan State's campus. Jordan, how are Spartans staying active and safe at IM West?
Hello. Hey, Jacob. Hey, Jacob. IM West opened up last week for the first time since March, and you could expect some changes. IM West is open again. Last spring, COVID-19 shut down nearly all buildings on the MSU campus. Athletics seemed stuck in the mud. Here at IM West, students and staff are working together to create a workout environment that is safe for everyone. Along with wearing masks and maintaining a 6-foot distance, Jody Strength says that IM West is prioritizing safety before students arrive at the building.
A couple of the main things is when you come to IM West, you have to have your health screening. You have to show it on your phone, the approved email.
For now, 71 people are allowed in the fitness center at one time. Connor Kempesty trusts that his safety is in good hands.
I'm not as worried here, but that's still a threat, obviously, but I feel like it's worth it because it's so much helpful lifting here.
Connor knows the physical benefit, but he knows it's helping mentally too.
I've been in my apartment for like 2 months straight now, and this is the only place I can go to like relieve any sort of stress or anything, so it's really helpful.
With 0 cases coming out of IM West, Jody is ready for the second wave of students arriving next semester, 2,500 to be exact.
There's going to be more of a need for our recreative space, say over at IM East. So we're looking forward to it. I mean, I'm hoping that we really can get open back up.
Strength says that the Air Force and ROTC classes are currently occupying IM East for training and drills, and students can expect to gain access as part of the reopening plan for January. Jake, are you hitting the gym tonight?
Might be a little too late after this show, Jordan. While businesses are hurting, some are opening. The new Bubble Tea Cafe in East Lansing has officially opened on Grand River, right next to the Peanut Barrel. Mo-G Tea is the latest national chain to invade East Lansing, a place where you can find bubble tea and other handcrafted teas with fresh fruit. While tea is their specialty, they also have some items that will cater just to this East Lansing location. The store has not had an official grand opening, but they opened October 30th with temporary hours and limited menu.
The ingredients for local people, because there was a MSU campus, and we think I have a lot of things we want to change.
Originally from New York, Mo-G Tea is excited to come to a college campus and be part of the Spartan community. The soft opening hours are from 11:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. But for those hours are likely to change next week, so call before you go.
Can you believe it? Are you still relishing in that big win against Michigan last weekend? The celebration in East Lansing was even bigger. Sam Britton is at the sports desk with a preview.
That's right, Taylor. We'll talk football against Iowa and highlights from last week's win against Michigan. All that and more coming up next. Stay with us.
Just what I say, I
Still
play
took the
tennis.
shot late. My heart was beating. Man, that might actually.
Seemed out of reach. But in MSU, I have no limits. From the first day I visited campus, I saw how accessible MSU is. Now I teach adaptive sports classes, so others can push their limits, just like me. My name is Piotr Plasik, and I am a Spartan.
Recently, I collaborated with a graduate student to create the first sensory-friendly Spartan chamber music concert. The performance is tailored for anyone with sensory sensitivities. For many kids, this may be their first experience in a concert hall, and we want to make it an unforgettable experience. And I think that's what we've done. My name is Tasha Warren, and I am a Spartan.
Welcome back to Focal Point. I'm Sam Britton here with your sports update. Michigan State was looking to bounce back after a loss against Rutgers, and a game against Michigan might not be the best way to do that. Let's take a look at the highlights from last weekend in Ann Arbor. Mel Tucker looking for his first win of the season, while Jim Harbaugh wants to win his third over MSU. First quarter here, Rocky Lombardi rolling to his left, and heaves one to true freshman Ricky White for a 30-yard TD. Spartans up by 7. After the Wolverines tie the game at 7 apiece, he's going to hit Connor Hayward coming out of the backfield. Spartans have to be happy about him coming back. MSU up 14-7. On to the fourth quarter, Spartans up 20-7 until the screen pass for Connor Hayward gets his second touchdown of the day as MSU takes a 27-17 lead. Michigan scored a late touchdown, but the onside kick was not successful. Michigan State managed to get the first down they needed to bring the Paul Bunyan Trophy back to East Lansing. After the big win, Mel Tucker is looking to get another win on the road at Iowa.
Whether they have fans or not, they're a very strong, physically strong football team. They're physical. They have just a mentality of Iowa football.
The Spartans will look to go 2-1 against the 0-2 Iowa Hawkeyes at Kinnick Stadium at noon on ESPN. While the mood was grim in Ann Arbor after the game, things were kicking off in East Lansing. Lexi Ayala has that story.
A couple of police cars down here, some fire trucks, a lot of smoke.
Let's go! It's been almost a week
Nope, no COVID symptoms.
since the Michigan State-Michigan rivalry game.
A lot of MSU fans, including myself, thought we were probably going to lose by like 30 plus. But I mean, it's a rivalry game.
And it was a Halloween game too, in Ann Arbor. But here in East Lansing, Jesse Hamilton found himself in the middle of the celebration.
I already knew I was booking it outside as soon as we win. Everybody knew that if we won, then like, it was about to get crazy.
MSU police officer Chris Rosman said that the couch burnings didn't happen here on campus, but East Lansing's police captain of administration said they issued a total of 11 tickets for large gatherings, all off campus.
We had extra officers working from the MSU Police Department as well as the East Lansing Police Department.
For students violating the local public health order, it may go further than a $500 fine.
If there's students, there's follow-up with the student conduct process, and there could be some repercussions there as well.
Hundreds of students took to the streets to celebrate, but some students felt that being in the middle of a pandemic with COVID cases constantly rising, that was reason enough to not go out. For MSU senior Allie Rasmussen, it was a simple choice.
I didn't want to possibly get a case of COVID and then possibly have it and then have my parents exposed to it and my family.
So whatever decisions you made last Saturday, the one thing we know for sure is the Paul Bunyan Trophy will reside in East Lansing. With Focal Point News, I'm Alexis Ayala reporting.
That was quite the scene there in East Lansing last Saturday. Yesterday in Ingham County alone, positive COVID cases soared over 5,000 with over 200 new cases in the last 24 hours. Practice began yesterday for basketball as the Spartans are getting back on the court after a long break from competition. The last time they played was at the Breslin Center on March 8th against Ohio State. Aaron Henry and Joey Hauser are excited to get this season started.
Joey transferring in, you got Rocket being a sophomore, Josh coming back for his 5th year, and everybody's just growing, and we're just adding. And I'm a small piece to the puzzle, but I'm glad to be looked at in that light. That's always a wonderful feeling, but I'm ready to compete with the team.
And then not knowing whether or not we're going to have a season, so just kind of sticking to the grind, all quarantine, keep working out, not sure what's going to happen. And now that we're going to have a season, it's see where hard work's really going to pay off, and it's something that I've thought about for a year now.
Michigan State's first game was supposed to be on December 1st against Duke in the Champions Classic, but the only game to be confirmed is against Virginia on December 9. Taylor, basketball season is close, but right now all eyes are on the football team. Tomorrow, kickoff is at noon in Iowa City.
Thank you, Sam. I know I'm excited to watch the game tomorrow. Football and basketball might be underway, but there is one sports fan cannot look forward to this year. Michigan State's athletic director Bill Beekman spent a couple months to find different solutions to MSU's athletic financial crisis, a crisis that led to devastating news to Michigan State's swim and dive team.
My initial reaction in that room at 4 o'clock was just this feeling of like paralysis.
A lot of people got angry immediately, but for me it was kind of more just like a numb reaction.
It's like a weird experience having to continue the season knowing this.
Knowing that out of the other 23 Division I sports at Michigan State, the swim and dive team was the program to be cut on October 22nd.
Initially, we just felt completely blindsided and deflated.
Since the men's gymnastics team being cut in 2001, this is the first time that Michigan State has cut a varsity sport. Michigan State is also the 8th Division I school to cut its swim and dive team, leaving its facilities vacant.
This is not only happening to us, and it's happening to lots of other schools, and I think that the fight is worth it.
Michigan State's athletic director Bill Beekman said the decision to discontinue the programs is final. But why cut the swim and dive team?
Part of the reason they wanted us cut is because of our facilities. Our outdoor pool is broken.
And so I think it's more the idea of they feel like they can't put the money into our program that we need to improve.
We have no way to know if it's going to come back or not, but that's the goal. Swim and dive team will come to an end at the finish of the 2020-21 season. MSU will also continue giving scholarships to those who finish their undergraduate degree at Michigan State, and will help those who want to transfer to another institution.
Of course, the election dominated the news this week. I know I haven't turned my TV off since Tuesday, but politics spread to the world of entertainment this week. Alexis Ayala is live at the entertainment desk. Lexi, what are our favorite celebrities saying about this election?
They're saying quite a bit, Jacob, and Americans have been glued to their TVs waiting to find out our next president. Some might call that stress, some might call that entertainment. And even if you missed some of your favorite TV shows or neglected iTunes this week, some of your favorite celebrities are making their presence known in a different way.
Celebrities and politicians have taken to Twitter to express their feelings during this never-ending election. Jimmy Kimmel cracked jokes about people's crippling patience, but Rihanna said that she will wait for every vote to be counted. Some of the biggest names in entertainment are not shy when it comes to what side they support.
Now is your chance to vote against Donald Trump.
Zendaya posted a blue Power Ranger, and singer John Legend waited all night to sing about Georgia.
Georgia, oh Georgia.
Others, including Lil Pump, who recently endorsed President Trump, are still hoping for a Republican victory.
Why did you choose to endorse Trump when you did?
Because Trump is a good man.
And Kanye West ditched both sides and instead voted for himself. Front pages and headlines around the world might be considered entertaining, or at least interesting to see. The Manila Bulletin in the Philippines wrote about the down-to-the-wire presidential battle. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution said the nation is still waiting, with Biden and Trump neck and neck in Georgia. One thing is certain: the world is watching. You can follow the hashtag election2020 to keep up with all of the election-related tweets. And Twitter never sleeps, guys, but neither do I. That's all I have for you today. Taylor, Jacob, back to you guys.
Thank you, Lexi. With the election still going on, even entertainment is political. But if you need a break from the news, one East Lansing family wants to spread smiles. Focal Point's Connie Rabbani talks positivity in this week's Focal Point Friday finale.
The fall colors in Michigan range from bright red to shimmering yellow, a sign of change when the leaves change.
We're looking for hope, and if it can smack you in your face and be right in front of you, then that's awesome.
But Sarah Olston sees another sign of the times. East Lansing gave her permission to post signs like this in her neighborhood.
There's one that says, "You got this,"
that was enough for me to jump on board to see what was happening.
If you take a walk on the corner of Cowley Avenue and Harvard Road, you'll see a message left for you, a sign you might have needed.
My son and our next door neighbor and my husband helped walk around, and we got some pretty yarn and tied everything to the trees.
The signs are even rubbing off on people who have never been to the neighborhood. Sarah's friend, Jackie Sayin, found them on Instagram.
Much like the Positiva tree, she's very much in line with the messaging that has been shared.
I wanted to do my part to kind of put a smile on people's faces.
Where seeing is believing and hope is provided.
Obviously, we've been in a pandemic for over 8 months now, or around 8 months, and it's just been it's been hard to find some glimmers of hope every now and again.
I think it's especially needed right now to just put a smile on people's faces and make the world a little bit brighter.
And a sign we can all hold on to.
We're doing the best we can. We've got this. This will not last forever. You know, you've got this. Like, we can do it.
It's a timely message, but it's a message that will carry on this could be for a lifetime, essentially.
In East Lansing, I'm Connie Rabani, Focal Point News.
Well, that put a smile on my face for sure.
The news stopping there will certainly be more election updates rolling in. But that is it for this edition of Focal Point News. I'm Jacob Lothamer.
And I'm Taylor Gattoni. Have a great weekend.